second. And then it's Calm Sea third. McKinnon well spotted in fourth. Ottoman Prince also in a good position through the early stages. 6 lengths off the duel on the front end. It's another 2 back to Fantastic. Sydney Street is a length behind him. Then Spagliato, K-Sun, and Count of Amazonia. They move on to the backstretch, and Tyler Bays with a handful of horse. Delmar Jerry has wanted to get to the front and has done so, but there will be no breathers as Pereira takes Hurricane Cloud to his outside and keeps the pressure on. McKinnon, Calm Sea, side by side past the half-mile pole. Reese Police sitting chilly on Ottoman Prince, 6 lengths off the leader. Fantastic. Down on the inside, the 9-year-old is next. It's another 2 to Sydney Street. Quezon, 3 clear of Spagliato, and Count of Amazonia continues to trail. Delmar Jerry comes to the quarter pole with a 1-length lead. Hurricane Cloud pestering throughout. McKinnon angles out for the drive. Just behind horses, Calm Sea, Fantastic looking for room. On the far outside, Sydney Street and Quezon. And in the middle of the race course, here comes Sydney Street as Ottoman Prince has surfaced with that dream trip to take command. And Ottoman Prince opens up over Sydney Street. Ottoman Prince, another for Rispoli, scores by 3. Sydney Street was second in front of Quezon and Hurricane Cloud. In the gate. And they're off, and Vlahos, no blinkers, but that same quick speed. He and Banyik will duke it out in the opening furlong. Traeger comes away in third. On the outside, it's Gamotak in fourth. Down at the rail, here comes Judge Miller to move up and claim that third spot. Ultimate Gamble in the red is in that mix, and See Through It trails. Vlahos and Banyik and Judge Miller on the outside of them. Traeger goes into the 3 path. They're followed by Ultimate Gamble, who's 5th, 4 lengths off the duel. On the inside comes See Through It, and Gamotak is the one hidden between. 3/8 of a mile to go. Vlahos has been there throughout. Banyik second. Judge Miller right next to his stablemate Traeger. Traeger takes third as Judge Miller is looking for some racing room. Another 2.5. See Through It is dropping out a bit. Gamotak in between rivals. They're at the top of the stretch, and Banyik has come away with the lead with 1/8 to go. Judge Miller down at the rail here. See Through It running a big race. In between them, Vlahos. It's a driving finish. Banyik has the lead. Judge Miller is out after in the center. Judge Miller, big strides, and Judge Miller will win it. Tight photo, very, very close between Banyik and See Through It. Behind them, Vlahos. A stellar return for Judge Miller. In the gate. And they're off. Lady Run is very quick away from the gate. So too Petite Filet. Those two speed back onto the course. In behind them, Big Pop in the red colors moves up to claim third. She's followed by Gianni's Girl in fourth. Down at the rail, Quick Omen with J&M Express in mid-pack. It's another 2 lengths back to Draw Me, who's 9 or 10 off the pace. Blue Wildcat inching up outside of her. Then Elegant Sway. And the favorite, Blevy's Tiger, is last. Into the far turn, and they're chasing Lady Run, who has a 1.5 length advantage. Big Pop is in second. Down at the rail, Petite Filet. Gianni's Girl is racing in fourth. 3 lengths off the lead. J&M Express is next. In behind them, Blue Wildcat trying to rally, as is Blevy's Tiger. Blevy's Tiger is coming with the red blinkers. They're at the top of the lane, and it's a wide open scramble. Blevy's Tiger Extreme outside is really motoring, though, and here she comes from from last, storming by them all. Blevy's Tiger, Blue Wildcat battling with J&M Express. Blevy's Tiger, another for Tiago Pereira, and that was super impressive. Blue Wildcat second, J&M Express. Then it was Elegant Sway with some strides late, and Draw Me finished fifth.
To say that our seminar guest's life has been hectic the last 30 days would be an understatement. If you were paying attention on Derby Day at Churchill Downs, you saw her in the winner's circle. And almost a month ago, she's been so busy, she actually changed her last name. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Quigley, VIP player concierge. And as you just saw in the scenic shot, a glorious and beautiful day here at the Great Race Place. High temperatures expected to be close to 90 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. And of course, I couldn't do this by myself. So let's bring in the newly appointed Mrs. Gonzalez, Jessica Gonzalez Pyfer. Happy Friday. Welcome to the seminar.
Happy Friday. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
It's always great to have you. Now, I had you in February, early February, but a lot has changed since then, as I mentioned, including your last name. Let's put up on the screen a picture from April 8th that I know you're very proud of. There you are, married to the other jockey named Ricky Gonzalez. Look at the smile on your face in the photo. It never gets old, does it?
Oh, such good photos. I actually got all of them back yesterday, and our photographer did such a good job. But it was an amazing day, so exciting. Ready to spend the rest of our lives together, right?
It's funny you would say that, Jessica, because the caption of this photo on social media says, "I'm so lucky to marry my best friend." Mm-hmm. And that's really what it's all about, right? You're not only just lovers, but you're friends, and that's a beautiful way to spend life together.
It is. We do everything together. We, work at the same place, do the same thing. We met as both being jockeys, so we really are together around each other every day, every second, and couldn't be happier with it. So
but it's not all fun and games. You've been up since 3:45 this morning. Those who might not know, who were off camera, you plowed down a Subway sandwich before we came on air because you were so hungry. But it's not all of bed of roses, right? Being an exercise rider and being married to a jockey.
No, it's not. A lot of difficulties come with it. I've learned not to critique his rides, that's for sure. But it's a lot of fun as well. You get to kind of do life together, do everything together, and we're on the same schedule most of the time, so it really works out.
Well, speaking of fun, as I mentioned in the opening, you were at Churchill Downs on Derby Week, and one of the reasons why you were there is you are the exercise rider for Copian, trained by Richard Mandela. Copian ran in the Derby City Distaff on the undercard for Kentucky Derby Day. The purse was $1 million. Let's kind of walk down memory lane, Jessica, and watch the replay of the Derby City Distaff at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, won by Copian.
And they're off at a good start for Ways and Means, and Mystic Lake was away well to Vava with an alert start as well. Hope Road on the far outside tries to tuck in as they race up the chute and they cross to the main track where Mystic Lake has made a clear lead. Mystic Lake in front, length and a half. Hope Road racing second. Vava's down inside third. Emery in the clear fourth. Ways and Means in between while fifth. Copian toward the inside sixth. Benedetta's in seventh. Still is in eighth by another length or so. Miss Susan B is second to last early, and Positano Sunset trails to field behind an opening quarter in just 22-1. On to the far turn, Mystic Lake leads by half a length. Hope Road coming with more pressure now, and Emery is set up 3 wide for the run to the quarter pole. Ways and Means and Vava moving in tandem. They're down inside. They're fourth and fifth. Copian swings to the far outside sixth. Silla's in seventh as they come to the top of the stretch where Hope Road comes wide off the turn but grabs a 2-length lead at the top of the stretch. Copian runs up into second. Ways and Means in behind in third. 1 furlong to go. Hope Road fully extended on the lead. Copian trying to push on by. Here's Copian, who's up for the lead right at the 16th pole, and Copian kicks away. Copian splashes home the 3-length winner.
Jessica, 45 and change, 109 and change, 121 and change. You should have a smile on your face because ever since Copian has showed up to the racetrack as a 2-year-old, you've been her only exercise rider.
Yeah, it just gives me chills.
It should.
Almost makes me go into tears again.
It should.
Like I did that day. She is so special, and she reminds me so much of her dad in Omaha Beach, who I also was aboard in a lot of his works in his career. She's just the ultimate epitome of class. And we have such a special bond. When she first came in as a 2-year-old, I said, this is the one. And Richard was like, whoa, it's way too early. I'm like, no.
What did you feel like? Was it just kind of a classy way she went,
Yeah.
or, her attitude? Those of us who have never been on the back of a horse professionally, like, what did you feel that kind of gave you that tip off right away?
She has some attitude, but it's almost the exact same thing I felt when I got on Omaha Beach for the first time. You just get on a horse and you feel just like you're on something good. It's really hard to explain.
Like getting in a Maserati.
It's like literally turning on a Maserati. That's what it felt like. And she's just so classy. Everything she does is with class. She'll stand on the racetrack for 10 minutes and just watch everyone go by. She is so special and gives me chills.
It should, as we said. And Cass Kamura gave her a great ride as well, because
I was going to say,
in the Spendthrift Silks, if you weren't paying attention early, she was kind of pinned down inside, had to work her way to the outside, and of course the rest was history. Yeah,
Kazushi Kimura, I give 100% credit to him. As they were coming around the turn about the 3/8 pole, I was like, okay, get out. And he it was like he listened to me. He just
like you guys
went
had
out.
a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, he went out right away. He rode her so good, and it proves that a jockey like that who comes from this Southern California can really handle the pressure on the big stage, especially riding in those colors for Hall of Fame trainer Richard Mandela, who I cannot be more thankful for taking me on this ride with her. And also when Omaha Beach was here, allowed me to go out to, actually when he was running in the Pegasus, he sent me out to work him before the race, and ended up not working and not running in the Pegasus that day. But he's been such a good supporter with me in my racing career and my entire exercise riding career too. So Richard Mandela has ultimate respect for me and cannot be more thankful for him in his barn.
Jessica, the weather was a bit inclement in Louisville, Kentucky during Derby week. Did you have any concerns about the off track for Copian?
I didn't. In the mornings, we were able to train every day with her, so that was really good. It was not raining during the morning training any of those days, but it was a little bit wet, and she didn't seem to handle it any way different than she handles this main track here. And I knew she had the talent in class that she could get over anything. So.
Now, the question begs, winning $1 million race, you would think there would be a big celebratory dinner that evening. I don't know what your travel plans were like, whether you left Louisville on Saturday evening or Sunday morning, but you were back here before first post on Sunday. A, was there a celebratory dinner? B, did you attend it? And C, when did you fly back?
I actually went back home with Flavian Pratt, who ran third in the Kentucky Derby.
Should have been second, if not be the winner. Did Flavian? Sorry to interrupt. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
He spent the entire night watching the replay over and over and over with all of us.
Were there any cuss words coming out of his mouth?
No, he was just,
trying to think what he could have done differently.
He's a jockey who wants to be the best,
Sure.
and that's what makes him the best. Is he goes back and watches every single replay that he's ever been in
multiple times,
and tries to figure out what he could have done, what he did good, what he did bad, and that's all he was doing that night, was just going through the ride a million times. I told him he couldn't have done anything different, so I thought he did a good job. But but that's what we did all night.
Jessica has babysat Flavian's 2 children, but not only that, she flies back home with him to Southern California for the next day of racing. We're going to take a quick time out, toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramonte, get the scratches, which are minimal on today's card. Then we'll find out who Jessica likes on all 9 races. Stand by, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf course is firm. The rail on the turf out 30 feet. Here are the early changes. Race 1, number 2, Gray Thunder carries 1 pound over. Scratch number 5 going nowhere. Early pick 5 starts with the first. Early pick 4 begins with race 2. There are no changes in the second. No changes in race number 3. Fourth is the start of the $2 pick 6. Overweights 2, Naval Harbor 4 over, and 5 riding by, 2 pounds over. The fifth starts the late pick 5 and the $3 all-turf pick 3, which is on races 5, 7, and 9. Scratch number 5, Song of Shadows. In the 6th, number 3, Jenny's Tiz 2 over. 5, Salsa on the Beach, 4 pounds overweight. No changes in the 7th. In the 8th race, you have a blinker note for number 4, Roman Empress. In the 9th, number 2, Bid on the Prize, make the jockey Hugo Herrera, super high 5 wagering offered on race number 9. Those are the changes on today's card. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. They'll be at the gate for race 1 in 58 minutes at 1 p.m. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have the Coast to Coast Pick 5, combining races from Gulfstream and Santa Anita Park. It starts today in an hour and a half with Gulfstream's 8th. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. His special guest is Jessica Gonzalez.
Welcome back. We're talking horse with Jessica Gonzalez Pyfer. It's our pleasure to have her on the set today. Jessica, as we talked about in the opening, you've been up since 3:45 this morning. I think I was just rolling in from a tough evening, but nevertheless, you've been very busy up to this point, of course, mainly working horses in the morning right here at Santa Anita. Give us an example of who you might have rode this morning.
This morning, well, as you maybe saw at Churchill, Ironman Cal, who ran second in the juvenile
was
turf,
loomed up there at the top of the lane and just kind of flattened out, which wasn't a bad performance off the long layoff since Breeders' Cup.
long layoff, soft turf course. my dad, Philip D'Amato, didn't really know how he would take to it, but he's back. I jogged him quite a few rounds today. He was
You've been on his
feeling
back
very
before.
happy. His whole career. Yeah, he's one of my other babies.
Has he matured both physically and mentally from 2 to 3, in your opinion?
He's always been really mentally mature, so I have not worried about him mentally whatsoever, but physically, yes, he's a lot stronger.
You can feel it.
Oh yeah, going into this race, he was feeling 100%, and that's the reason why off the long layoff, we shipped to Kentucky, took a chance, and you know it paid off. He still got money. He ran okay.
There's a lot of good 3-year-old turf races around the country the rest of the year.
Exactly. So we're excited about him. Also, a few others from my dad's barn that are quite good. So.
Do you ever go to Los Al and work any of the string over there for either your mom or dad?
I don't. I stay here.
Uh-huh.
A little too boring over there for me.
What about Ricky? Does he get out there in the morning, or is he the one that sleeps in? Like, what's his morning like?
No, he was out there from 6 o'clock till 9:30 this morning. He had a lot to go, so he was busy too. But I work harder.
Who's Ricky's agent? I should know this, and I'm asking a question I don't know the answer to. But who is Ricky's agent right now?
It's actually my old agent, Brandon O'Brien.
Okay, great. Does he also have Tyler?
Yes, he does. Tyler Mays and Ricky Gonzalez, and we're all still very good friends. So it's kind of fun to have a business and personal relationship.
And Ricky has actually had a good 2025, right? Since opening day up until this point, he's had a lot of winners. I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but he's a jockey you can bet on with confidence. I know you're biased in your opinion toward him, but he's actually winning a lot of races.
Yeah, he'd say he's a little upset he's had too many seconds, but he's given all of them very good rides. I think he's one of the most underrated riders in the jocks room here, and I think a lot of other people agree with me as well, but he just needs the chances like everyone.
We don't want any seconds on today's seminar, Jessica. All we want is winners. So let's see if you can sweep the card. Kicking things off in race number 1, whereas, of course, you can see on the screen, we are fast and firm for today's racing conditions. Race 1 is 1 mile on the turf course. It's for maiden special weight Calebreds. The turf rails today are at 30 feet, and, of course, race 1 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. There is one scratch the 5 going nowhere. Still leaves us with a field of 6. The current betting choice at 7 to 5 is number 2, Great Thunder, one of many 3-year-olds in the field. 7 to 5 on the tote board right now. How'd you see race 1, Jessica?
Well, I have to tell you, I really liked the horse that scratched, the number 5 Going Nowhere for trainer Ron Ellis, and I liked him because I didn't really think there was much speed in this race. So it scares me now that kind of the speed that I thought would be there and maybe go wide to wire is out. But I have to go with the number 2, Gray Thunder, because I thought that first race on January 19th was really impressive. He, didn't break very good, was kind of a little bit pushed out at the 3/8 pole, as you can see on the running lines, and has had a lot of works since then. So I'm hoping if he can break a little bit better today, be closer to the pace. I think he has a lot of talent for trainer Richard Baltus. I also used the morning line favorite, the number 3 Outworker, underneath, which is kind of funny that he's not the favorite right now and he was the morning line favorite. Maybe people are thinking the same thing than to me about him, but he just doesn't seem very consistent. It's his first time on the turf. And I'd rather take a horse who's been proven enough on the turf, like the number 2, Gray Thunder.
Question for you, Jessica, because I'm not out here in the morning with you. You've been here since 3:45, as I've mentioned a few times, but you also mentioned you've only worked a few horses for your dad this morning. So what do you do with your spare time, say, in between 3:45 and 9:30? In other words, does your dad have you muck stalls? Do you talk to the exercise riders? Do you go to Clocker's Corner and have a cup of coffee? Like, what do you do in that time period when you're actually not on a horse's back?
No, there's hardly any period of time where I'm not on a horse's back.
Truly.
From 4:45 to this morning, it was 8 o'clock. We're just back to back.
So 3 hours and 15 minutes nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 5 minutes. A little
Galloping
bit of a break.
Horses.
Galloping, jogging. I worked one this morning.
Sure.
And then Copian's having a few days off after that really tough race and ship. So,
well deserved.
I wasn't on her this morning, but I think she'll come back to the track either tomorrow or the next day. So then I'll have her right after my dad's horses. And then I actually have my own horse. I have a jumper that I got off of the track. Her name's Lily.
A former racehorse.
Yes, Ricky rode her entire career. So it's kind of full circle. Kristen Mulhall trained her, who's a really good friend of ours. And she's 6 years old right now. I've competed her even here at San Ida at the jumping event that they had here
in November.
Yes, and she's the light of my life. So
how excited are you to have the Olympics, the Equestrian Olympics here at San Ida? That's going to be an incredible venue for us to host that.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I've dreamed of going to the Olympics personally, which isn't going to happen, but also to be there and just watch it. I have a lot of friends in the business, so it's going to be so much fun to see it at our home place.
A owner owns the horse for the lifetime, not just while they're on the racetrack, correct?
Exactly.
Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. We're sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track. This race is for fillies and mares. It's a restricted race. $5,000 is the claiming tag. We've got a field of 6. Number 4, Auditory from the Steve Miotti barn is 7-5 on the morning line. Give us your thoughts on race 2, Jessica.
I did not use the morning line favorite in here. I actually chose to go with Lucky Sermon, the number 2. And, this horse hasn't competed at the class that the favorite in Auditory has. However, I thought that was a really good win last time with Armando Aguilar aboard. It almost seems like he just fit this horse. He knew him really well. He rode him really well in his first start 4 starts ago. And so I chose with a horse that I think can be closest in this race, whereas Auditory is coming out of mile races, isn't going to be as fast, might be shuffled back into the dirt, which he has won on before, but is probably a little bit better on the turf, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to pick the number 2, Lucky Sermon, hopefully stay on the rail and go wire to wire.
2 and 4 in race number 2. A follow-up question for you in the morning, Jessica, when you're out here exercising and galloping horses. Do you ever pay attention? I know you're probably laser focused, but do you ever pay attention to any other horses whizzing by you and maybe take a look at the trainer's saddle cloth and try and figure out, wow, who is that just blew by me? I mean, do certain horses catch your eye?
Tom, I'm a rider, but I'm a handicapper as well. Of course I do. Yeah. I mean, a few months ago I don't remember who was the trainer, but I think it was a Mullins horse. And just came by me, and I was on a graded stakes winner, and this horse just flew by me like I was tied to a pole. And I think Abdul Al-Sagur was on the horse, and I caught up to him on the gallop out, and I was like, who is that? I need to bet on him. So yes, of course I do. I actually this morning, a horse by the name of Flashiest, who I've loved his entire career.
Leonard Powell, I believe, right?
Leonard Powell. I saw him out there this morning. I'm like, Flashiest is back. There's just certain horses who you follow for a long time. Me being a lot at the gate, I see them up and close and personal. And so I can point them out the next few mornings when I see them on the track. I really try really hard to do that because I believe it's important as a handicapper. I have the advantage of seeing them in the mornings. And I get a little bit of the backstory to them. So I would try really hard to look at them and follow them.
Another handicapping question for you, Jessica. Do you believe in the horses for courses theory? Do you think some horses prefer Santa Anita over Del Mar and vice versa?
100%. A lot of our horses that I've been on throughout the years, we get down to Del Mar and they just thrive. They love the beach, the ocean air.
Some are in outdoor pens.
Exactly.
As opposed to indoor pens.
Exactly. A lot of the fillies love that ability to be outdoor and get to see everything around them. So I do believe so. Regards to, dirt surfaces, maybe not so much, but
it's
I think
more the
turf,
mental attitude.
Exactly. Mentally, and the turf as well.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 3. We're back on the turf course. 1 mile is the distance. This is a starter allowance race. We've got a field of 5. Morning line favorite number 3, Dealer Special, fresh off a victory, I should say, for trainer Richie Baltus is 8-5. Umberto Rispoli in the saddle. Talk to us about race 3, Jessica.
I chose to go with the favorite in here. I just think that Umberto knows his horse. He's gotten him to run really well his entire career. If you look at the running lines, Umberto's ridden him in his best career races. He is stepping up a little bit in class, but I think his victory last time really just gave him the confidence to get here today. He also has had the right amount of time coming back into this race, which I think is important. And he shortens up a little bit in trip, which I think he's going to be fine with.
We have a polytrack training track surface now, Jessica. What's your evaluation of that? I know that most of the 2025 season, it's been on the relatively fast side, but is it a welcome addition to Santa Anita? Do turf horses like getting over it? Just give us your overall evaluation of the new training track.
We like it. I liked both surfaces. I like the old training track. I like the new training track. And it's been a great surface to have, especially for my dad's barn, Phil D'Amato's barn, where we have a lot of turf horses and they've seemed to really take into it. It is very fast, which leads you to think that these times 58, these horses are working, great. But that's why it's up to you to go on First TV, look at the workouts
free of charge,
and look at how they're getting over the track. Look at how they're working. And yeah, I think it's been a great addition to this racetrack, and a lot of people have utilized it.
Speaking of your dad's horses, he saddles the morning line favorite in race number 4, which begins the $2 pick six. We start fresh because we had a 2-day carryover last Sunday. Winning tickets paid in excess of $13,000. The total pool, new money bet into that 2-day carryover was $905,000, almost $1 million. But we kick off today's pick six in race 4, sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track. Maiden claiming Calbreds, $12,500 is the claiming tag. As I mentioned, number 4, Charlie Pride, taking a drop down in class for your dad, is the 7-5 morning line favorite. Have you been on his back at all in the morning?
No. This horse.
Your dad only saved you for the good horses?
This horse has just been a disappointment in our barn, to be honest, Tom.
Look at the dam. Enola Gray. You would have expected something better than a maiden 12-5.
Enola Gray's first baby, bred by Arrogate. We all were so excited for this baby, right? And he just has not proven himself. He ran first time out. We thought he was the real deal. He was off slow, ran a huge race, and then after that just kind of never came back to be the same horse. And so I used him underneath. I did not use him on top for those exact reasons. Even though he's making a huge drop in class, 4 others are also making a drop in class in this race. So I chose to go with the number 3, James Braddock, for trainer Steve Knapp. This horse also getting the drop in class, and I think has just proven a little bit more in his career than Charlie Pride has. He didn't run a great race last time, but he broke early. He broke from the gates before the race went. He had a bump start. He was 5 wide. There's a bunch of things that you can excuse him for, and I think he's getting into the right place today. So I have to go with James J. Braddock, the number 3.
Race number 5 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 wager as well as the $3 all turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. And we kick off both wagers in race 5, sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course for Calbred fillies and mares and allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of one other than. Scratch the 5, Song of Shadows, still leaves us with a field of 6. The morning line favorite, number 3, Ultimate High, who's 2-1 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jessica, you wanted to show a workout for one of the runners in race 5, and that would be for number 6, Lamborghini. This was a team drill on the training track back on May 4th. That was the most recent work for Lamborghini. I happened to watch this race after you requested it. My God, the exercise rider never moved a muscle in this workout.
Yeah, that's actually jockey Abdul Al-Sagor on the inside on Lamborghini. He works a lot for Doug O'Neill in the morning, and I loved this work because Lamborghini has always been a good workhorse. So I cannot say that this is an exceptional work for her, but they usually work her by herself. So I love that they put her on the inside a little bit in front of some company, because I feel like when she's closer is when she runs her best races. And you can see in this work, she is wanting to fight off that horse, trying to get her the entire way around there. So what I'm hoping from this work is that they're going to try to send her out of the gates, get her a little bit closer, and get her to fend off horses like she did exactly in this work. And you can see she's never wanting to let the outside horse go by. Abdul's just holding her very tightly. The outside rider's trying to make his horse go by, but just can't. And she gallops out even better. So I really hope they're going to try to get her closer today, where she's been a little bit off the pace in the past.
Jessica, a handicapping question for you. Take off your exercise rider hat and put on your simulcast analyst hat. Lamborghini, trained by Doug O'Neill. Of course, he's had a poor start to the Hollywood meet, just 1 for 28. Does that factor into it, or are you just ignoring that and saying, off that workout, I like Lamborghini in the race?
Off that workout, I like Lamborghini.
Because all barns go through highs and lows. It's cyclical, right?
Every barn goes through highs and lows. I think my dad went through the lower part last meet, but hopefully we're trying to come back.
Not so much this meet. He's gotten off to a really good start during the Hollywood meet.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a really good Del Mar too. A lot of Euro horses coming in that look very nice. But Lamborghini is just, I did not use her on top, so I have to tell you that I didn't use her on top. But I think she's going to run an exceptional race today. And I think if they change the direction of where she's going to come from, if she's going to be a little bit closer today, she has even better of a shot. So I had to use her. She's also going to be a little bit better of a price. And then I also put the number 2, Dancing with Maxine, actually on top with Mike Smith aboard. Mike has really gotten this horse to run very good. Is going to be close to the pace, or might even be on the lead. I think if Lamborghini's sitting right off of Dancing with Maxine, that could be a perfect trip for both of them. Maybe we'll do an exacta box.
Let's talk about Mike Smith for a minute, because of course his mount in the Kentucky Derby, Rodriguez, scratched right before the race, a day or two ahead of time, and he was interviewed on FanDuel TVG, and he said, "I'm not going to retire anytime soon. Don't worry about that." Mike is, think about it. He's up in age. He's an incredible physical specimen whose head is in the right place. He's one of many talented jockeys in the jock room.
Yeah, he is. He's one of me and Ricky's best friends. He was there at our wedding. We go to lunch with him at Houston's quite often, and the stories he has are just unbelievable. Back in the day, I mean, I wish I had lived back in the day when he was coming on as a rider, because the
From
stories
New Mexico.
he has. Yeah.
He actually rode in Chicago when I was going to Arlington Park in the early 80s. You know, he and Randy Romero and many other jockeys who became famous actually cut their teeth in Chicago. But I like to see that he's passing down his knowledge to the next generation.
100%. And Ricky's all for it. He just wants to sit and listen to those stories forever. But Mike's been very supportive of all of us as riders. He does his best to lead the next generation of horsemen like he was raised into it as well. And he's an incredible rider. The hands that he has, the horsemanship that he has are just one that you have to idol.
The things that people do that you don't hear about tells you a lot about their character. Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4, 6.5 furlongs in the main track. Maiden claiming Calbreds in for a $50,000 tag. We've got a field of 7, number 2. Last Call Paul, the 0 for 21 maiden, is going to be ridden by Drain Van Dyke, trained by Steve Knapp. Is today graduation day? You're looking elsewhere, Jessica.
I look elsewhere. Every time this horse runs, I don't care who's in the race. I look elsewhere.
But let's just say, not to pick on Last Call Paul, but some horses are just herd animals. They do not want to pass a horse.
Yeah, and you know, I respect Steve Knapp for keeping him and running him at the exact same level his entire career. He could have dropped him a long time ago and probably got the win, but this horse is just making constant money for him, and the connections, he's always right there, and he does a very good job at it. But I just can't take him anymore. I can't pick him anymore on top because he just constantly gets beat. So I went with the number 6, Pio Nono, a new timer in here. He ran really good first time out, was 8 wide around the turn. I went back and watched that race, and he really was 8 wide around the turn. And I like that KK's on him today because Yushi Kimura, obviously, he rode Copian. Amazing. So if he rides Pio Nono as good as he did Copian, should be in the winner's circle. So I like the newcomer in here. I also used the number 1, Keithing Thunder, for trainer Brendan Galvin, who I think is a very good horseman in his own right. This horse worked tremendous on April 27th. If you go on First TV, look at that work. He worked against another horse by the name of something Thunder. They had similar names, and he outworked him just on a hold by the rider very easily. So I also put Keithing Thunder on the rail with Tyler Bayes aboard.
Race number 7 begins one of the new and popular wagers here at Sandy, the $3 late pick 3, once again with a reduced 15% takeout. And we start that wager in race 7 for fillies and mares traveling 1 mile on the turf course. Allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 2 other than. Number 5, Run a Mile in My Shoes, fresh off a victory, is the 9-5 Maury Line favorite. Your dad trains a bit of a long shot who's only had 3 starts in North America. Number 6, Omniponton, I believe is how it's pronounced. Talk to us about race 7, Jessica.
This was the toughest race on the card for me. There's a lot of horses who belong here, a lot of fillies and mares who belong here, so it was tough. But I had to go and trust my gut with the outside horse in Kinjani for trainer Mark Glatt. Mark scratched her out of a race last week, a stake race, and thought maybe this would be an easier spot to come back from that layoff in. The Connections bought her thinking she was going to be a really nice prospect here in North America. And I just have to go with, I think Mark has her fit and ready. He's worked her 6 furlongs, which I feel like Mark Glatt typically doesn't do. So he's really trying to get her ready off of this layoff to come back and win. And I think Hector Barrios is going to ride her really good from that outside post. So I had to use Kinjani on top. However, I just feel like you could use any other horse in here on top. Run a Mile in My Shoes has done nothing wrong. She's won the first condition allowance, the California or Calbred condition on the dirt, on the turf, and the open 1X. So she has really done everything you could ask her to do, and she has proven herself a million times over again. So Run a Mile in My Shoes cannot talk bad about her, but I just chose to go with one who I think Mark Glatt has tuned up and ready.
A comment and a question for you. The comment would be on Run a Mile in My Shoes. Perfect way to train a Calbred. She's banked $233,000 in her career, so this is certainly a poster child for it. Pays to be Calbred. And number 7, Kinjani, your top choice. Jessica, I want to ask you a question about her because I was fooled by her back in her debut on January 21st of last year. When she walked by, there wasn't much to her. She was only 959 pounds, according to the graphic on the simulcast feed before the race, and she wasn't much to look at. But yet, how do you you personally, how do you like obviously you look at horses in the paddock and you know what they're like in the morning. How do you kind of distinguish between those two? Because I'm such a paddock guy, I'm actually turned off when they look poorly walking by.
Yeah, she is very skinny. Actually, when I was working for Mark Glatt for a little bit, I got on her a few times. She actually dropped me. I fell off of her. But she is
no
very,
harm, no foul, thankfully.
I still pick her on top. It's okay. But yeah, we get a lot of these Euro fillies and mares. My dad's barn as well, Phil D'Amato, and there's not really much to them. But then you get on them, and the turn of the foot that they have is just incredible. So, I mean, I'm small, and you like me, right?
I love you. I don't like you. I love you.
So
you've been a great addition to the simulcast set, as you've been proving over the last 30 minutes.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I don't take anything to
So you'll take their talent over the looks, I guess, is the question.
Talent over looks. But obviously, if there's, I'm out on the track at the gate all the time, and if one really stands out to me that maybe doesn't look like it on paper, you know, you have to use them.
Where are you today, as a matter of fact, after the
desk?
The desk. Beautiful. We'll hear your opinion all day long. Race number 8 begins the $5 late daily double, also with a reduced 15% takeout. This is another restricted race for fillies and mares in for a $5,000 tag. Sprinting 5.5 furlongs in the main track. We've got a field of 8. The Maury Line favorite, number 5, Woodbine Way, who's 3-1 on the Maury Line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jessica, I want to watch a replay that 5 of these runners exit. It was the race back on April 6th. It was the 5th race that particular afternoon. It was also a restricted $5,000 claiming race. Woodbine Way was in this race. Roses Are Blue was in this race. But the one I want you to watch is I'm a Risque Girl. She's going to drop post position number 1 today. In the replay we're about to watch, she's going to be breaking from post position number 5. You be the judge, but I thought she was in a tough spot. This was her first start since September of 2024, and now she's in a new barn that does well with their acquisition. So let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action back on April 6th and watch I'm a Risque Girl break from post position number 5.
And they're off. Assembled Storm and Daddy Indeed are both out alertly. Woodbine Way is coming through along the inside to take second. O'Neill's Legacy is rushing through now right into the pace. And racing in fourth now is Daddy Indeed with 2.5 to make up. Then Amanda Rose, I'm a Risque Girl, Tessa outside that pair. It's a gap of 4 to spread the risk, and Roses Are Blue, and another 3 back to Roman Empress. Into the far turn, O'Neill's Legacy, Woodbine Way, and Assembled Storm vying for command. Just in behind them, Tessa will go 4 deep, but right there in the thick of it with a nice bid. And I'm a Risque Girl in the green silks is trying to move up between rivals as O'Neill's Legacy is the first to bow out. 1/4 mile to go, Woodbine Way, I'm a Risque Girl, Tessa on the outside in the red. They're at the top of the stretch, and Woodbine Way hugs the rail and goes on, trying to fend off Tessa, who's 2 lengths back in second. Then I'm a Risque Girl and Roses Are Blue. They're coming to the 16th pole. Woodbine Way, 1.5 lengths. Tessa's in second. Here's Roses Are Blue with a late run, but it's a little too late. Woodbine Way, that's 3 for Serafin Carmona. Tessa's second best.
Jessica, Woodbine Way, Tessa, and Roses Are Blue all finished in front of I'm a Risque Girl, but that replay we just watched was at 6 furlongs, as previously mentioned. I'm a Risque Girl came off a bit of a long layoff, and now today's distance in race 8 is 5.5 furlongs. I think that's going to benefit her. What say you?
I think so too. I used her on top as well, and you could see in that replay the entire time she was in between horses. She kind of had her head up.
She was uncomfortable.
She acted like she was uncomfortable, and even to go in between those horses at the middle of the turn, quarter pole-ish part was really impressive for her. So I agree with you. 5.5 furlongs should fit her today. And you look at the winner in that race, Woodbine Way, who will probably be your favorite going off in this race. She came back to run a not so good effort. So that's why I couldn't use her on top. I felt like she had no excuses in that race, and she ran last by 15 lengths. So I would rather go with the horse who's on the improve, which I think is I'm a Risque Girl in here.
I'm with you. Race number 9, we close out the day offering $1 super high five wagering. We're traveling 1 1/8 on the turf course for $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Make the jockey number 2 bid on the pot. Bid on the prize. Hugo Herrera, the Maury Line favorite, is trained by her dad, number 1. One of these days, taking a drop down in class. 3-2 on the morning line. You only picked 1 horse in this race. Of course, it was your dad's, but it's your best bet on the card.
Yes, it is. And I will tell you, I kind of trusted my mom in this pick and this single
Training
today.
cross town at Los Al.
Well, my mom's here now, actually, and she has been getting on this horse since he's been here for about this week. And she came back the other day and said, man, this horse is training really good, but I really hope he's going long. And I said, yeah, don't worry, Mom. He always goes long. But she said that because he'll just gallop and gallop and gallop all day long. And so I think this distance he's ran further before, and he's ran at a mile before. But off of that last race, I think he just needed a little bit more ground than he got at a mile. I think a 1.8 miles is going to be perfect for him. I trust the low sow training off of this layoff, and he's dropping in class, which I think are all a recipe for the winner's circle. At least I'm hoping.
Jessica, before we let you go, one more wager to consider, and I know you get involved on a daily basis. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, St. Anita and Gulfstream Park, in conjunction with each other, offer a $1 coast-to-coast pick 5 wager, a $1 minimum, low 15% takeout. It always pays well. As you can see, 3 races from St. Anita today included in the wager, but the kickoff race is Gulfstream Park, race number 8, 1:36 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you get involved. Jessica, thanks so much for being my guest today. Congratulations again, not only on the wedding and the marriage, and obviously nothing but happiness and success for you and Ricky, but also Copian's win at Churchill Downs. She's got a bright future ahead. I know you'll be with her every step of the way.
Thanks so much, TQ.
Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice you hear, track announcer Frank Miramati, updating us with any late changes. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon. Welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track conditions are brought to you by John Deere, and we are fast and firm with the rail